Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing? This is your Coach Rams. We're going to continue on our study of the 7 principles to obtain freedom. I know the first one was like super long, and we only covered 2 subject matters, and that's definiteness of purpose and mastery over your emotions. So if you didn't see that one, I know it's almost an hour. It's 49 minutes long, but go back and check that one out. And then come back and watch this one and probably the next one, because I'm going to keep these a little bit shorter, even if I only deal with one subject matter. And maybe that's the best way to do it, so you give you time to really focus in on the one part. Now, like I said, in the first one, I'm talking about one subject, but they all work together. They all coalesce. They all commingle. They all, like, you need to all of them to be working simultaneously, and they do merge. There's like the gray area that they fade the one to the other. So watch the whole things, but be mindful that you gotta take all of this individually and put them together. Before we get started, let's get a word from our sponsors. I'd like to take a moment to thank all our sponsors. For everyone on Patreon who supports this channel through your monthly donations, you are greatly appreciated. And I look forward to providing you free content as well as exclusive live video chats. You will also be able to receive discounts on products from Uncle Ren's Popcorn, as well as coaching from Coach Ren's. This video is also sponsored by Uncle Ren's Popcorn, where you can get 25 flavors of delicious gourmet popcorn, from salt and vinegar to strawberry cheesecake, from caramel and cheddar to bacon jalapeno, and many others like cookies and cream. I greatly appreciate everyone who supports us at Uncle Ren's Popcorn. This channel is also supported by Coach Ren's, where you can not only get all your life coaching, your relationship coaching, but also get your business coaching from Coach Ren's, as we teach you how to move your hobbies into a business, not a job for yourself, but a business. We also teach you life principles of leadership and meditation. So go to CoachRens.com and support the sponsors of this channel. All right, welcome back, everybody. How you doing? Appreciate you. Please continue to subscribe to the channel. If you're finding me for the first time, we talk about the 360 degrees of your life. We talk about your health, your wealth. We talk about spirituality. We talk about your relationships. We talk about everything. Right now, we're going through this 7-part series, these 7 principles to obtain freedom. Not 7 parts, just 7 principles. So we talked about definiteness of purpose. You got to have a definiteness of purpose, meaning you got to have a place that you're going. You got to have a destination. You have to have something that you say, I'm living my life for this. I'm working for that. I go to work every day in order to obtain this goal. And that goal has to be bigger than the basic thing that everybody always say. You got to be like something major, something large, something that you're really, going to change your life. Something that there is no plan B to. The other part was mastery over your emotions. If the mind, if the thought, which is the male energy, is not in harmony with the female energy of the emotion, the mind, the heart, then the two in the house are not unified as one, and so nothing will change in your life. You'll constantly be fighting back and forth. I see this all the time with people. I see people who are fighting back and forth as individuals who are trying to come together because they're not harmonizing. I see people inside themselves. Many of my clients for CoachRens.com, they're fighting within themselves in order to release the traditional instructions that they've been taught to harmonize with the emotion of what they truly want to have in life. And many of them don't even know what they truly want to have in life. So we got to get that mastery over your emotions. Doesn't mean you got to be hard, doesn't mean you got to be cold, but you cannot allow yourself to be taken advantage of. You can't just run after your emotional things, make emotional snap decisions. That your decisions have to be mentally thought through and supercharged with emotion. And then if you study sexual alchemy, then supercharge with that sex energy and transmuted that into something far greater. So let's continue. Today, in this video, at minimum, we're going to talk about the third thing that you need in order to obtain freedom. Learn from adversity. I know that sounds simple. I know that's something that many of you say, I already know that. I already do that. Do you? Do you? Let me give you an example, because as I'm speaking to you guys, every video that I ever make, for the most part, I ain't gonna say every because that's finite. Most of my videos is also self-taught. It's self-teaching. It's self-analyzation. It's self-healing for me. You see, I go through these videos, and then no matter where I am in life, it causes me to think deeper. No matter what I've achieved, no matter what heights I've elevated to, or lows that I've went down to. Every time I make a video, I analyze myself based on the video as well. So this is not just for you. This is not just for my children. This is for me as well. Learning from adversity is one of those things that most of us actually struggle from greatly. One of the reasons why we struggle from it, no definiteness of purpose, lack of emotional control. Many of you guys know I'm the owner of Uncle Ren's Popcorn. What you may not know is that Uncle Ren's Popcorn was originally called Tiffany's Popcorn Cafe. It was called Tiffany's Popcorn Cafe because when I decided I was going to do this business, I was married. Let me give you a whole thing. I was married. I had just sold my gyms 2 years prior and was running low on money after the sale a couple years later. And decided that I needed to get into something that didn't require me. See, only in a gym, I needed to be there all the time. Everybody wanted to train with me. So I wanted something that I could build that didn't require me. So I scoured the universe for an idea. And I landed on Uncle Ren's Popcorn. Well, Tiffany's Popcorn Cafe. I landed on the idea of gourmet popcorn. Let me put it that way. I landed on the idea of gourmet popcorn. I saw that gourmet popcorn was an untapped market. There was no national big player. There was no one who controlled it. And I said, wow, this is like the Wild West. And I can be the gourmet. I can be the Starbucks of popcorn. I can make gourmet popcorn something that becomes a part of just your ethos every day, as much as Starbucks is. So I went around the country. I went and visited other popcorn shops, seeing what they were doing, because most of them are mom and pop shops. You know, like I said, there's no national player. Even for the famed one in Chicago, whose name we shall not mention, 90% of my customers, it turned out that 90% of my customers had never heard of them. So I knew it wasn't this. I knew I had this great opportunity. And it's still there. It's still present. That's the sad thing about it, is that the opportunity is still present. Most shops, even though they've grown, even though there's like, when I first started this company in 2012, there were only like 3,000 shops across America. Now there's like 10,000 shops across America. So it's still a growing opportunity. And I'll probably do something a little bit later with inviting investments in. But anyhow, as the story goes, and all of this is going to show you how I did not learn from my adversity. And maybe you will find it within yourself of how you're not learning and how we can change that. So I'm flying around and I decide, we're in Las Vegas and I just finished visiting the last shop that I wanted to visit. We're having this conversation. I'm telling her, hey, this is what we're going to do. You know, I was married to this lady named Tiffany. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to open up a gourmet popcorn shop. You know, this is going to be my big stake in the ground that's going to propel me to everything else that I want to do in life. So, gourmet popcorn. First, she's excited about it. All right, yay. Because we were there with a group of people, and that group of people went with me to the shop. And so everybody was excited about it. You know, they had the flavors, and I want to pay respect to Popcorn Girl, because that's who they sat down with me. It was supposed to be a 15-minute meeting, turned out to be like 2 hours of their time, and they gave me their contact information, and I constantly stayed in contact with them. So everybody in the room was excited. So she was excited. But then we get home, and over the course of the next few months, that was in October. So over the course of from October to December, she's, no, I don't want you to do it. You got a degree in IT. I want you to go back and do IT work, even though I had told her when I first met her that I hate IT and I would never do that work again. And she says, no, because your friends are making six figures. The guys you graduated with, they're all making six figures. The ones you talk to, they're all making six figures. I want you to go back and I want you to be an IT guy. And I'm like, I'm not going to be an IT guy. So we were arguing to the point where we were in counseling, and we were in a council meeting, and I'm probably telling you guys way too much information here. We was in a council meeting, and it was a couple, and the male counselor was like, well, what if he was willing to wait about 2 years to go back to IT, wait 2 years, build up a bigger plan and all this sort of thing. Would you feel comfortable then? And she was like, well, I may feel comfortable then. And I looked at them and I said, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. That's the guy, the wife. Let me tell you something. And let me tell you something. I'm not waiting for anybody. I'm not waiting 2 years to do this. You met me, I was an entrepreneur. I'm still going to be one. Plain and simple. You ain't got to. So we left that meeting not on happy ground. Driving home that day, and it was November 17th of 2011. Driving home that day, and she made the statement. And I'm telling y'all this so you understand why I made some certain decisions. She made the statement that because the wife has said, if we are not in agreement on this business, it will not grow. It will not be successful. All right. So, and remember, if you watch the video about your emotions, and I just kind of reiterated, the two must be one. First inside yourself, and then if you're in union with somebody, the two must become one. Otherwise, there's conflict. You got positive energy, negative energy, or you got direction A, you got direction Z, and y'all are not going to get to the same place. One person trying to go to New York, the other person trying to go to LA, and both of y'all in Atlanta. You're going two different directions. So you got to be going the same direction. It wasn't happening. She was in the car. We was on this road called the Bypass. If you're in Atlanta, Covington area, the Bypass, and we was right by passing this Chevron, and she looks over to me, and because we're discussing the meeting, and she says, "You can't start this business without me. That you won't be able to do it without me." I turned and looked, angry, pissed off. And I said, let me explain something to you. I don't need anyone's permission to start a business. And I don't need anybody's help to start a business. You see, she mistakenly thought that I was needing her finances or her credit or her help or her permission in order to start this business. So the car felt silent. And in my mind, by the time we got up to Flat Shoals Road, which was about 3 minutes away, I had made up my mind at that moment that I'm getting a divorce. That I will be filing for divorce next week because there is absolutely no way I'm going to be married to a woman who tells me that I cannot follow my definiteness of purpose. I had decided that was going to be my definiteness of purpose. So we went home. Very quiet night. We wake up in the morning. I would imagine, because I don't know and I never asked, that through that night, she felt the energy that was inside me. She felt the idea, the thought process that was inside me. And that morning, around 10 a.m., she says to me, I will do this with you. We can run this business. We can start this business together. I'll do this with you. At that moment, my good mind should have said, that's all right. Don't worry about it. But since I was in a marriage, since I had committed myself, and even though 3 months after being married, we had been in counseling, and this was a year and a half later, I said, okay. And then later on that day, I told her as a peace offering, I think that I want to name the company after you. And so, a few hours later, the name was decided to be Tiffany's Popcorn. Well, at first it was Tiffany's Treats. But then the next few days it changed to Tiffany's. No, actually, about 3-4 months later, it turned to Tiffany's Popcorn Cafe. Because when we first started it, I tested it as a kiosk in the city of Atlanta. It did decently. Then we opened up a store. When we got ready to open the store, it was, well, let me tell you that story. Learn from adversity. The first store that we opened, so we're driving around. We're trying to find a location. Every location that I find, she says no. Every location that she finds, I say no. We cannot agree upon a location. We finally agree upon a location, but by this point, I'm exhausted about looking for locations that I did not do my due diligence, right? Didn't do my due diligence and really research the location. 6 months after being in that location, the building is condemned. We were doing fair to Midland in that location, but the building wound up being condemned. So then we moved to another location, actually one of the first locations that I wanted to go into in the very beginning. But she didn't want to go into that one because it was too close to where she worked, and she didn't want the people she worked with or that community, or she's a school teacher, or the kids to come and have to see them at school and then possibly see them at the store. So, but we wind up in that location. Turned out to be a great, fabulous location. Great. Did $200K the first year. But I gave into her emotions to allow her to be a part of this business the first time, and changed it and named it after her. Here again, choosing this location, I gave into her emotions again because instead of taking a 5-year lease, I took a 1-year lease. The 1-year lease, because she was afraid and said, let's just test it out and see if it works. The 1-year lease, when it was over, we got outbidded by a bigger company. We had to leave because I gave into my emotion of trying to please someone else over my logic of knowing what's better to do. The two of my inner self wasn't connected. I wasn't learning from my own adversity because the two inside me weren't in unity. So then we had to find a new location. Someone she knew was wanting to invest. This investor came in the door, said, hey, I really want us to thrive. I want to be a part of this business. You know, I'm a on paper millionaire, so I'm good to go. So I was excited. But then I went, and so I started looking for better locations. Locations I had learned about foot traffic in dealing with a business of this nature. So got a deal with the Fox Theater to be a part of the Fox Theater in downtown Atlanta. Oh, but the investor buckled at how much the rent would be. Even though I showed him the number of people who showed up for shows and how much we would make if only 10% of those people bought from us, we would be profitable just with the people who bought tickets. Not to mention the surrounding businesses and neighbor and condominiums and all those. He bought. Found another location. He bought. Found another location. He bolts again. It finally gets to a point where I have no option. Nowhere else to go. So I choose a location that was down the street from where I previously was. It was in a Walmart plaza. Little did I know that Walmart shoppers don't buy gourmet products for the most part. So it wasn't a good choice. And that began a series of a few not so good locations because things were so limited in my funds, because I leaned on these other people, trusted other people to do what they say that they was going to do. I gave into my emotions to try to please other people when I knew my logical process of what I needed to do. I was too heart chakra, too open, and I wasn't learning from my adversities. I wasn't learning from the mistakes that I was making. I had investors later on who said, hey, I want to open a license of your company. And I didn't say that I must have choice, 51% control to choose your locations so that you don't end up being in locations that was only average and wind up losing out on spaces, wind up wasting money on spaces because I gave in to this is my friend, so I want them to have equal share, and I want to try to, I want to make them feel comfortable when I knew a better business decision should have been made, but I gave into my emotions. This is a young lady who's investing, and even though I know that this is a possibly good location, that it has some major issues, and maybe we shouldn't go there, but she was so desperate and wanted it to be so close to where she lived that I gave in to her emotions and her desires, instead of saying, no, way over here on the other side of town is a better location. You see, I did those things, and it put me in a position where I wind up going from one opening in locations that I knew weren't going to truly be successful. So I had to learn from those adversities, but at first I wasn't learning from them. They had just enough difference in them that I didn't really learn from them. And then there were certain things about the industry that I really didn't understand fully, and people's behavior. Like, if you had told me that a plaza that's raised up above the road would make a difference as to people's visitation to that plaza compared to one that's below, that people will go to a plaza that's below, that their eyesight is below from the road, that they're more apt to turn into that one. I didn't understand things like that back then. So some of my decision making, I take onus on those, but I've learned from those mistakes. See, those are the kind of mistakes you have to learn from. I know what kind of locations to be in. I know what anchors. If it's a plaza, I know what type of anchors the plaza has to have. I know to inquire about the longevity of the anchor's lease. I also know as far as customers being able to get in and get out, and parking and visibilities and walkability, all these different things. Having a median in the road, and if your business is a go home style business or a go to work style business, if there's a median in the road and you're on the go home side, but all those things makes a huge difference. You see, I learned from all of those, which is why in February of this year, I said, let me take a step back with Uncle Ren's Popcorn. Let me go back and take all that I've learned, so that when I come back out with a brick and mortar, and I know many people, and I get people all, oh, you should just stay online. No. This is an experience. When you come to my store, it's an experience to sample and taste and that sort of thing. If it was all about online, then Starbucks would be totally online. But no, it's the experience, and it's the nature of coming there and working and sitting in the cafe style. If it was all about online, it's not. You still do not have like 50% of purchases made online. That may be a true statement one day, maybe in 20, 30 years, but there will always be certain industries that you have to go to. You got to go there. You got to go touch it, feel it. You got to smell it. And this is a touch, feel, smell experience, right? Take the family out for ice cream. Take the family out for treats. It's an experience. So even though I get all that, you take all that information in and you learn from your adversity. You say, oh, there's a great space over here at this Walmart plaza. Now, I've been in Walmart before. I understand the mentality of the majority of shoppers there. They're looking for discounts. I'm not a discount product. So you learn from that mistake. You don't do the same thing over again. And that's how your mindset has to be. What can I learn from my mistake? And when I go forward, don't repeat them. Don't repeat them. You see, in the past, I put myself in position where it's a win for someone else, but it's a loss for me. But I realized that I have to be in a win-win situation. It's not for the other person to lose. I'm not looking for anybody to lose. It has to be win-win, or it's not a good situation at all. If it's not a win-win, then it's actually a lose-lose, because eventually both parties are going to lose. You see, I've been in those situations before. So you have to get your mind and your emotions in center so that you say, no, all situations must be win-win. So let me think through it. Let me supercharge that thought with emotion. But first, let me make sure I'm making the best decision. Now, are all of them going to be perfect? No. But when you do make a decision and things don't work out the way you plan or the way you anticipate them to have worked out for you, then you have to regroup and say, well, how can I do better? How can I pick myself back up? Because failure is not me. Failure is just an activity. And most people don't realize that every moment of failure is an opportunity for you to progress even further. Every moment of failure is just one step closer to your success. But so many people stop at the point of having a failure. They stop at the point of having what I rather call a failure to a minor setback. Most people stop and stay in the minor setback, or they see the minor setback and they say, well, then that's not for me. If Uncle Ren's popcorn was for you, then Uncle Ren's popcorn would be a total and complete success because it would have been for you. Nothing could have taken it away. You'd have been given all the guidance to make all the right decisions. That's la la land. That's make-believe BS. Show me one business person who is amazingly successful and show me that they did not have adversity. Show me that they did not have minor setbacks, learn from them, and kept going. Do you think Bill Gates just walked out the door and everything worked great? No, he had adversities with IBM. He had adversities with getting Windows out. He had adversities with security issues with Windows, but everything is a minor setback and a step forward. Matter of fact, Microsoft still does. As a person who holds the Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer and the Microsoft Certified Trainer and all these other little certifications, there are patches that come out every year. Why? Because there's a problem with the program. And they go back and say, well, how can we fix it and move forward? Oh, somebody broke the program. How can we fix it and move forward? Somebody wrote a virus that destroys the program. How can we fix it and move forward? It is not, oh, damn, somebody broke it. Oh, well, instead of Windows, let's make this. That's not the process. It's not what successful people do. That's not what you can do if you're going to be successful. Just because I had taken setbacks with Uncle Ren's popcorn does not mean that the story is over. It does not mean it's a bad idea. It does not mean that it's not for me. What is for me is whatever I decide is for me. Definiteness of purpose. I decide what is for me, and then I back that with logical thought and emotion, and it strengthens it, and then I just have to follow it. Keep moving forward. Never giving up. I love the movie Acrimony for a couple of reasons. But one of the reasons I love the movie is that the guy from college stayed with it. Yes, he got jobs. Yes, he pissed people off. Yes, his wife at the time, was not always supportive. Yes, it drained a lot of their funds. And then when he was offered $500,000, I believe, he turned it down. And everybody was pissed at him because he knew that what he had was way more valuable. And he stuck with it. He kept going. And at the end of the day, he got exactly what he always thought that he deserved. And if you don't think that way, then you will never get there. If you're always thinking that, oh, the door is open, now the door is closed, and you give up so easily, then the door, it wasn't meant for you because you never decided that it was for you. Let me put it that way. It wasn't meant for you because you never decided that it was truly for you. You never had unity of the two inside you, and therefore the universe, God, the creator, whatever you want to call it, said no. Because you first said no to yourself. You first said no. You did. And if you keep saying no to you, if you don't learn from adversity and realize that it's just a minor setback, then the world, the universe will always tell you no. You will always struggle because everything you do will always come back. It may surge forward, but then you'll fall back. I lived that for so long. The roller coaster of riding high and then plummeting low, riding high, plummeting low, allowing the law of rhythm to take me to this height and then swing me all the way back, with not ever coming to the understanding of the law of polarity, which is once my vibration has me over here, immediately as I swing back to the left to increase my vibration back to the right. Increasing that vibration back to the right is seeing that, oh, an adversity is happening. Let me increase my vibration and get my adversity, learn from this adversity, and move back to the right. That's what the meaning is. So I'm going to end this part here. That's number 3, learning from adversity. We'll continue with the next video, which is caution of plan. Yes, I'm going to do this probably one video at a time. So y'all have a great day. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. And hey, order some of this popcorn for Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatever else. Or if it's past the holidays and you're watching this like 6 months later, hey, just order it anyway. Y'all have a great day.